Alright, I'm going to get you the cockpit of this, but before we do that, we're going to open up the external power. That's the external power. We'll plug it in with this. I'll show you what we do. So that's all plugged in. Come back here. We turn the power on in the unit. Lights on. And we can go ahead and power this. So power's going to the airplane. It's not switched on the airplane yet, but that's one step. Okay, here's the cockpit. Oh, there's nothing to see. No, just kidding. So the first thing I'll do is we'll come down here to the battery switches. Turn both batteries on. You will notice this light that just showed up here. It says available. That is the ground power unit, what we just plugged in. But I won't turn it on yet, and I'll show you why. It is doing something a little non-standard because we updated the databases. So it takes a little while to spin up here, so pardon about the delay. And there's a fair amount of glare coming from the sun, so this gets a little time consuming. Here's this. Hit OK. Everything's current in there. The only thing we don't keep current is the airport directory because we don't really need it. Now, one of the things I do is I check the battery voltage there. Battery 1 and 2 are over 24 volts. So I'll explain that in a second. Then we'll go to aircraft systems.
All warning okay.
Electric. Now this is showing our battery voltage as well. Our shed buses are off because and then this is that GPU. We want 28. We want below 29 volts. So let me turn some fans off. So I'll come back over here. Push this. It goes to in use. And that battery just turned green, and the shed buses are off. So now we have a lot more things. So here's the cockpit. And we'll get a little more in depth here. Actually, we're going to come down here one thing first. We're going to go to utilities, crew profile. We're going to do, that's me, activate. Now it's set for me. So here's my PFD, pilot's flight display. Now, if you're used to an old airplane, it's very similar, it's just in a digital layout. Down here, we have the compass. In this case, it's HSI because there's navigation on it. You just saw that turn green because that's part of the TAWs, or the synthetic vision, so it'll actually show what's out there. You know, like a tower's out there showing the runway. Here's your, we call it an ADI, but that would be an attitude indicator. The old T formation for the old gauges. You had your heading, attitude indicator, airspeed. We have a tape. Same thing, it's just in a tape format. Same with the altitude. There's our altimeter. It's in a tape. Over here, that's our vertical speed. So that is our PFD. We come over here to our MFD and multi-function display. We got our engine gauges, typical jet. You know, you got your N1, ITT, N2, oil pressure, fuel temp. Here's your fuel panel, batteries, cabin, pressurization, spoiler, speed brake, landing gear, flap, trim. Now, some of these systems, let's just come down here. We can go to aircraft systems. We can hit status. Notice that changed from the map. We can do environmental. That's environmental. Electrical, which is actually the same as the other one. Fuel. And ice protection, which is not on. And then we also go map. There's a lot of things we can do. We can pull up weather. And we can do the Cirrus satellite download. So, a lot of different things we can do on that. That's why it's called a multifunction display. So, and over here is the same PFD. It'd be PFD2, exact same as the other one, except for the autopilot panel. Sorry about that glare. There's the autopilot panel. Now I say it's exactly the same. That uses a different air data computer. So that data is separate. So if these two are miscomparing, if the two pilot flight displays have different readings, we have a third on the standby flight. A third air data computer. So if we're in the clouds and we can't see, 2 beats 1. So you look for 2 agreement, 1 misagreement. So, and then we can also we can change the data sensor. Like if my air data computer goes bad, I can use number 2, but you don't want to switch till you know which one's bad. So here's a little CAS messages like oxygen low pressure right now, emergency light not armed. Those are standard because I haven't turned them on yet. And the GPU is connected. That's set for the ground power unit. And all that does is let us use ground power unit on the battery, power up, start, and get our flight plan set. So there we are. Down here, are the Garmin Touchscreens. I can't remember their technical term, but this is where we go through all our menu. This is the home page. We can tune radios down here. Like that. We can go, you got map settings, you got traffic, you got weather, TAWS, which is train awareness system, your flight plan, direct to if you need to use it, procedures like for approaches, holds, your aircraft systems, performance, where we put weight, checking waypoints, utilities. Also, utilities would be trip stats, trip planning, setup, and crew profile. You saw me set to my profile how I like it. Same one over here for that. So there's the cockpit. In general, you know, there's just a few other things that are still switches. Over here you got your pressurization controller, your environmental control for like temperature and air conditioning, batteries, electrical emergency. Oh, and here's one thing, we do electrical emergency because on the, what we do is we open up, in electrical emergency we open up and isolate buses. One of the things I have you do after start is have you check the batteries. Notice I check my batteries before I put power to it. So I will not wait 10 seconds to check batteries when I check the bus ties. I just make sure the bus tie is open and I've already done the battery check. Here's a GPU switch. Here's your pneumatics, basically bleed airs. This is just a warning dial. Some more engine and fuel switches. Over here's a big one, the heating, or what we call anti-ice, de-ice. Obviously the gear, rather small in this airplane. Then you come down, you got the throttles or power levers, speed brake, flaps, and the parking brake. Here's where you start the engines. You just turn them to start. There's no fuel condition lever or anything. And these are the firewall shutoffs. Well, I hope you enjoyed the cockpit video, and then feel free to ask questions. I'll try to answer anything I can. And this will end the video because it's time for me to go to work.